You feel it, don't you? That subtle, persistent hum of acceleration beneath the surface of everything. The feeling that the script of reality is being rewritten faster than we can read the pages. You might call it chaos. You might call it progress. You might call it the end of the world. Dolores Cannon called it a graduation, a planetary shift so profound, so fundamental, that it doesn't just change the world, it changes the very rules of existence.
Hi guys, how you going? Campbell here from Autodidactic. And of course, autodidactic means to be self-educated. And we all need to be self-educated, right? Because if we're not, the only choice we have left is to believe what other people tell us. And so today, something a little bit different. We're going to be looking at a long form video. And it's one I watched about a week ago and I found it very interesting. So I hope you do too.
So fundamental that it doesn't just change the world, it changes the very rules of existence. And for decades, through thousands of hypnotic regressions, she wasn't just observing it, she was mapping it. She saw it not as a random series of chaotic events, but as a meticulously orchestrated sequence, a timeline, a 5-year window, a final act. And that window is opening now. This is not a prophecy to be passively watched. This is not another YouTube video to be consumed and forgotten. This is an activation key, a dossier containing the code to the next 5 years of your life. The code to navigate the storm, to understand the chaos, and to consciously choose your destination. Because where humanity is going, not everyone will arrive at the same place.
Yes, the split, hey, and I think we've all been noticing this, especially over the last 5 years, right? This split in consciousness, in frequency, and how it's very hard to even communicate sometimes these days with people in the system, right? The systemites. So, have you noticed this? Let me know.
Before we open this dossier, we must address the fundamental question, the one Dolores herself would have asked. When you look towards the next 5 years, what do you truly see? When you look towards the horizon of 2030, do you see a promise or a threat? Is your subconscious painting a picture of technological dystopia, environmental collapse, and social decay? Or do you feel, deep in your bones, a spark of unimaginable potential, a new Earth waiting to be born? Be honest with yourself.
Which one is it? Which one are you planning for and making movement towards? Is it the system world, right? The one that's being built up in your mind through the media, through social media, through all these images and stories that we're being bombarded with. You know, the whole chaos in the world, the natural disasters, you know, all the movements going around, the protests, the violence, and ultimately the end of the world, which is what they're promoting. Or do you see something completely different? Do you see a better world coming? Do you see a shift coming, a vibrational shift, which is going to make it a much better place for us? Not necessarily for everyone here on Earth, but at least for the people who can match that frequency. Let me know, where are you going? You going to the new Earth or are you gonna stay here?
Your answer is the compass point from which your journey begins. What is your 5-year plan? And does it account for a planetary shift in consciousness? Are you planning for a promotion at a job that might not exist in 36 months? Are you investing in a system that is showing cracks in its very foundation? Or have you started to factor in a different kind of currency? The currency of vibration, of awareness, of spiritual resilience. Are you waiting for the world to change? Or are you beginning to understand that the world is waiting for you?
The world is a reflection, right, of our thoughts. We dream life into existence. And obviously we all know, right? Energy flows where attention goes. So where is your attention? What are you working towards? Because, when I look around, I see so many people caught up in the minutia, right, of information and all the different, all the conspiracy theories. What's happening today? You wake up, what's happened? What's happened? It's novelty, right? We're expecting novelty, something novel to come into our lives to give us a dopamine hit, right? Because, life in 2020, 21, 22, we're all under those restrictions. It got pretty boring, right? Apart from the internet. And through that, 3, 4 years later, a lot of people, even, people who would say they're awake and they're researchers and that, are ending up addicted to this constant flow of information. So I guess, yeah, the question is, where is your attention going?
This is the core of Dolores's message. The shift isn't something that happens to us. It is something that flows through us. Every thought, every choice, every reaction is a vote for which version of Earth you wish to experience. The timeline isn't a fixed path. It is a river, and that river is about to split into two. This dossier is your map and your paddle. Let's begin. The first phase of this 5-year window, spanning roughly from the beginning of 2025 to the end of 2026, is what Dolores's subjects consistently referred to as a period of intensification and sorting. Imagine the Earth as a giant instrument that has been playing one single dense note for thousands of years. Now, imagine someone is slowly, deliberately turning a cosmic tuning knob. The frequency is rising. When you raise the frequency of an object, two things happen. First, anything that is not in harmonic resonance with that new frequency begins to shake violently. It feels unstable. It feels like it's falling apart. Second, particles that are in resonance with the new frequency begin to hum. They find each other. They clump together. They amplify one another. This is the master metaphor for the next 2 years. It's not a political or social collapse. It is a vibrational audit.
And haven't we seen this happening already? And of course, online, this is the dichotomy, right? The internet has connected so many of us, right, of a like frequency and mind. Um, so it's not all bad, right? But we've definitely seen this happening, right? And we've also seen the cracks in the people that aren't resonating with this new frequency. We've seen people freaking out all over the place, right? And of course, in the bigger picture, that the system is collapsing. All the systems are collapsing. They're all being questioned, right? Nothing is as it was.
Everything, systems, beliefs, relationships, and even your own secret thoughts, will be subjected to this rising frequency. Anything built on a foundation of fear, control, and separation will begin to shake. Anything built on love, truth, and connection will begin to sing. The first and most visible manifestation of this will be what we can call the institutional shakeout. Dolores often spoke of the props on the stage of life, the systems we take for granted, financial institutions, legacy media, political structures, even mainstream science and medicine. These are constructs of the old, dense frequency. In 2025 and 2026, you will witness this hollowness become undeniable. This won't necessarily be a single dramatic collapse. It will be more like a death by 1,000 cuts, a series of glitches in the matrix that expose the fragility of these systems. Expect to see economic volatility. Not just recessions, but strange, illogical market behaviors that defy old models. The rise of decentralized systems won't be a niche trend anymore. It will become a conversation of necessity. Information schisms. The concept of mainstream news will become almost meaningless. Reality will splinter into dozens of narratives, each with its own fiercely loyal following. The challenge won't be finding information, but navigating an ocean of it without losing your own energetic center.
And that's why we need to be autodidactic, right? And not judge things as right or wrong, good or bad when we first come into contact with them. I always see things as interesting, and because as soon as you judge something as right or wrong, you can't learn anything else about that topic, right? Because you've decided, you've closed your mind to it. But if things are just interesting, then they sit in your mind. When you get more information on that, right? Another reference point, then you will slowly, the more reference points you get, you'll come to the conclusion that it's either more right or more wrong, for you. So this is the thing with all this information, and I've spoken about this a lot. There's so much on the internet, and most of it's crap, right? The whole doom scrolling, the whole social media scrolling, all this kind of stuff. You really have to choose where you're going to put your attention and focus, because at this point, you definitely can't watch it all.
Political theater. Political events will become increasingly absurd, like a play where the actors have forgotten their lines but must keep the show going. The focus will shift from policy to personality, from substance to spectacle, exposing the lack of real power behind the curtains. The key here is not to get caught in the drama. Dolores's guidance was clear: be an observer. See these events not as tragedies, but as the necessary demolition of an old set before a new one can be built.
Yeah, man, it's all a show. And see it as that. It doesn't have to affect us because, 99.999% of what we see doesn't affect us, right? And unless you can change something and you know it's real, then worrying is only going to hurt you, basically.
They are symptoms of the frequency change, not the cause of your suffering. Your suffering only comes if you cling to the crumbling walls. But this shakeout isn't just happening out there. The most crucial part of this phase happens in here. The rising frequency acts as a giant cosmic mirror. Everything we have suppressed, every unhealed trauma, every limiting belief we carry will be amplified and reflected back at us with relentless intensity. This is why, during 2025 and 2026, you may feel like you are going crazy. Emotional swings. You might experience sudden waves of sadness, anger, or anxiety that seem to come from nowhere. This is not yours alone. You are processing not only your own stuff, but also the collective static. Relationship sorting. Relationships, friendships, family, romantic partners that are not based on vibrational alignment will become increasingly difficult, even painful.
Have you encountered any of this? Let me know, right? But the split is definitely happening. But he was talking about, us having to sort through, all the collective trauma, I guess. But I think another part of what's, sending people into, mental states that they don't want to be in is, the programming's breaking down, right? It's not just the outside world systems that are breaking down, it's our internal ones. So all these things that we've been programmed with to believe, and we, a lot of them we've lived by these, as true, right? They're gonna more and more become apparent that they're not true, right? Or at least they're not, possibly not the truth. Right, so many things. I mean, people used to trust the government and thought money was real, right? Look where we are now. The whole law thing's falling apart. But then, as far as ourselves and different energies and how we actually create and how we can go through, we've got to break down these programs of we need to work, we need money in order to survive, we need, things from the system, right, to live a good life. That's the main program we need to break down. And also, we need to solve all those, issues, those problems that go along with it, challenges.
Conversations will feel strained. You'll feel like you're speaking different languages. This is not a failure. It is a natural sorting. The people meant for your next chapter will begin to find you, often in the most unexpected ways. Physical symptoms. The famous ascension symptoms will intensify for many. Unexplained fatigue, ringing in the ears, strange sleep patterns, a buzzing sensation in the body. This is the physical body struggling to recalibrate its own frequency to match the planet's. It's like upgrading your computer's operating system. There's always a period of adjustment and debugging. The code for this phase is radical self-responsibility. Stop blaming the outside world for your inner state. When a painful emotion arises, don't push it away. Ask it, what are you here to show me? What lie am I believing that is causing this pain? Every trigger is a doorway. Every challenge is a curriculum. The universe isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. It is giving you every possible opportunity to lighten your load before the river splits for.
And, that's such a good point, right? Life is happening for you, or what do you believe? Let me know. Let me know your reasons. But, some people believe life is happening to them, right? And life is happening for them. So, of course, if life is happening to you, that puts you in victim mode, right? Because it's happening to you. You can't do anything about it. It's this outside, force harassing you. But if life is happening for you, then everything outside of you is for you, right? It's all a lesson. It's all to help you grow. It's all to make you smile, to make you learn, whatever, but it's all for you. So none of it's bad. And that's just a change in thinking, a change in how you look at the world. And clearly that those two thought patterns are going down different roads, right? At the moment, we're in victim tyrant frequency, or at least the old world is, right? Where there's tyrants, right? And most people look at the world as if everyone's a tyrant and they're the victim. Some people see themselves as the tyrant and they want everyone else to be their victim, right? It's this hunter-prey type thing. And that is not the new world. That's the old world. That's the world that we've been living in, that's now splitting, right? The frequencies are rising and it really is a choice. So now I would just say, it's really time to get sorted on what you think about, what you focus about, and what kind of frequency you're putting out. Because it's going to be very important of where you end up, in my opinion, in the next, well, Dolores says 5 years, but the shift is here.
Good. This is the task of 2025 and 2026. To unpack your bags, to observe the demolition of the old world without fear, and to choose moment by moment which frequency you will anchor within yourself. Because that choice will determine which path you see when the bridge appears. If the first phase was about shaking the foundations, the second phase, covering 2027 and 2028, is about the definitive splitting of worlds. This is the concept Dolores Cannon is perhaps most famous for, the New Earth. But she was adamant about one crucial detail that is often misunderstood. The New Earth is not a place you go to. It is not a distant planet or a future paradise you wait for. It is a frequency you tune into. Imagine two realities coexisting in the same space, right here, right now, separated only by vibration. The old Earth continues on its timeline of control, fear, and disintegration. The new Earth begins to solidify its timeline of freedom, creativity, and connection. During 2027 and 2028, the vibrational gap between these two realities will become so wide that they will effectively become non-interactive. They will cease to perceive one another.
Yes, the split. And I've been talking about this for 2 or 3 years now, um, probably longer, right? Ever since COVID, right? It sort of showed us what was happening. And I know about Dolores Cannon, but I've never read her books or studied her work or anything. But it just became apparent to me that there's definitely a split going to happen, right? And it's a frequency split. So we all already have had the experience, right, of trying to talk to a systemite, a normie, and you just can't converse with them. Like it's like the frequencies literally can't interact. It's getting like that, right? So we're already seeing this, and this is why I wanted to share this video with you, is because for me at least, it's everything that they're talking about is apparent. You can see it happening in the outside world already, right? So I thought it was good information to have. And it also, gels a lot with what I believe and I've been sort of talking about and coming to conclusions about over the last 5 years now. So let me know in the comments. Does this make sense to you? Does it gel with you? Are you seeing the effects of it? Or do you think it's all total crap?
This is the bifurcation. The primary characteristic of this phase is a phenomenon we will call perceptual decoupling. This is perhaps the most surreal aspect of the entire shift. Dolores's subjects described it as people on the two different timelines beginning to fade from each other's reality. It's not that they vanish in a puff of smoke. It's more subtle. They simply cease to be relevant to each other's experience. How will this manifest in your life? The dissolving of conflict. You may find that people or situations that used to trigger you immensely simply don't anymore. It's as if you can see the drama playing out on a distant stage, but you no longer feel the compulsion to jump on stage and join the play. You will find yourself disengaging, not from a place of apathy, but from a place of profound peace. Synchronistic encounters. Conversely, you will start bumping into people who are on your wavelength with astounding frequency. The right teacher, the perfect business partner, a new soul family. These won't feel like coincidences. They will feel like appointments you set for yourself before you were even born. These are the other citizens of the New Earth frequency, and you are beginning to find each other. The two news feeds effect. You and a friend could look at the exact same world events and describe two completely different realities. One sees only collapse, corruption, and despair. The other sees the collapse as a necessary clearing and focuses on the incredible solutions, communities, and innovations that are rising from the ashes.
And that's what we need to do, right? We need to build all these new systems. Like there's all this talk of, AI and it's taking jobs and all this kind of stuff, but it's taking system jobs, right? It's not taking creative jobs that, fulfill your heart, right? And make you happy. There's shit jobs that we don't want to go to, right? And they don't even give us enough, money to live well. So there's more opportunity now than ever, but it's not in the system. System's collapsing. The opportunity is in all these alternative, right, technologies and health products, should I say? Because I've got to be careful still talking about that, right? How about an internet too, where we weren't censored? That would be good. But we need all these things, right? New ways to build things, construction, all this kind of stuff, because everything in the system is toxic. So whatever it is you love to do and you're good at, start it.
Both are real within their own vibrational bubble. The code for this phase is the conscious observer. Your primary task is to hold your frequency. When the chaos of the old Earth timeline appears on your screen, you observe it. You might send it compassion, but you do not feed it your energy. You do not engage in its arguments. You do not participate in its fear. You are a lighthouse keeper. Your job is not to sail into the storm to rescue every ship. Your job is to be the light, unwavering, so that those who are looking for the shore can find their way.
Yes, be the change you want to see. Are you doing that at the moment? Because this is, again, this is how we align with this new frequency. Because the way I see it is everything is here right now, right? In the earth, however big that is. It's all here and it's all happening now, but on different frequencies, right? And that's what we're going through, is we're going to rise frequency. So our field of vision and what we can interact with physically is going up. And anyone who doesn't go up, right, make that ascension, is going to stay here in the current frequency, which is the current world, right? So, yeah, it's all here right now, but we've got to match that frequency if we want to rise into it. So, are you doing that? Because it's definitely time to, right? It's time to ignore the fear, the false evidence appearing real, and be prepared, not scared, and start making a movement towards who you want to be and where you want to be.
As the old systems continue their noisy demolition, something beautiful and quiet begins to take form during this phase. The emergence of coherent islands or pockets of the new Earth. These are not physical locations initially. They are energetic and social structures built on the principles of the new frequency. During 2027 and 2028, your focus should shift from trying to fix the old world to actively building or participating in these new world structures. New economies. Expect the flourishing of local, community-based economies. Bartering systems, skill-sharing platforms, and community currencies that operate outside the volatile global financial system. New communities. People will begin to form intentional communities, both online and in person, based on shared values and purpose rather than geography or bloodlines. This is the soul family coming into physical form, creating supportive environments where the new Earth frequency can be anchored and amplified. New knowledge, information on suppressed technologies, particularly in the realms of energy, health, and consciousness, will begin to surface and be put into practice within these communities. The era of relying on centralized authorities for truth will end. The era of empowered, direct experience begins. Your mission in this phase is to find your network, to find the other nodes in the mycelium. Ask yourself, where can I contribute my energy? Who is building the world I want to live in? This is not about survival. This is about consciously, joyfully beginning to build paradise, right in the middle of the old world storm. We now arrive at the culmination of the 5-year window. If Phase 1 was the demolition and Phase 2 was the construction of the scaffolding, Phase 3, spanning 2029 and 2030, is about moving into the new house. This is the period Dolores's work points to as the solidification. The new Earth frequency is no longer an abstract concept or a fleeting feeling. For those who have done the work, who have navigated the bifurcation, it becomes their dominant, physical reality. The veil between what is imagined and what is manifested becomes incredibly thin. The defining law of this final phase is conscious creatorship. The training wheels are off. In the old frequency, there was a significant time lag between thought and manifestation. You could hold a negative belief for years before its effects became physically apparent. This lag served as a buffer, a safety net for a species learning how to use its creative power. By 2029, for those on the New Earth timeline, this buffer is effectively gone. This means your inner state is no longer a private affair. It is the literal command interface for your reality.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, and this is another concept, and definitely one I've thought about is, we're gods in training, right? Because we're powerful creators. But if everyone down here at the moment manifested instantly what they were thinking, it would be, that would not be a good result, right? And that's what this change is, right? It's us changing. It's changing our mind. It's changing our beliefs. Well, at least looking at our beliefs, right? Because should we have any at all? I don't know. But it's being open and it's definitely focusing on the potential, right? And the creativity, not what is. It's focusing on building something new rather than destroying what was old, right? The system, or wanting to stay there. Um, but yeah, are you ready to instantly manifest?
Instant manifestation. You will think of a solution to a problem, and the right person will call you within minutes. You will feel a need for a resource, and it will appear in your life in a synchronistic, almost magical way. This becomes the new normal. The end of work. The old paradigm of trading time for money in a job you don't love will become completely unworkable on the new Earth frequency. Your work will become synonymous with your joy and your purpose. You will be sustained by following your highest excitement, because that is the state in which you are most aligned with the creative force of the universe. Telepathic and empathic abilities. Communication will evolve beyond the limitations of spoken language. You will begin to know things without being told. You will feel the emotional state of those around you as clearly as if it were your own. This will necessitate a new level of honesty and integrity in all interactions. The code for this phase is impeccable mind mastery. This is the final graduation exam. Every moment is an opportunity to choose your thoughts and feelings with the same care you would choose the tools to build your home. Fear is a rusty hammer. Love is a master craftsman's chisel. Which will you use to sculpt your world? A question naturally arises. What happens to the old Earth?
Yes, what happens to the old Earth? Well, we'll find out that in a moment. But this is not only where we're going, but what we need to be now, right? It starts sculpting our thought process, go for mind mastery. What was it? Impeccable mind mastery. Really paying attention to our thoughts and one, understanding that we create them and we can control them. And two, that what we create and think about is what we create in the outside world as well, right? Because the outside world's a mirror. So it's a perfect time to get started on all this kind of stuff, right? Inner work, mainly getting rid of baggage. Stop holding on to the past. Stop getting, feeling like a victim or poor little me, and step into your power and understand that you can change anything. And this is the whole process, right? As within, so without. We're leaving the past behind, right? We're leaving the crap behind, which in the physical world is the system, right? And the control and all that kind of stuff. And in each person, it's the baggage, it's the stuff that we hold on to that holds us back. It's the stuff that makes us not feel, like we're powerful creators or that we're less than anyone else and not worthy. All these kinds of thoughts, right? That things are too hard for us and we can't learn it and only they can do it and they're lucky and I'm not. All these negative thought processes, so have to be left at the gate, man. But they can't be brought into the new earth. So I would say start throwing those bags away now.
What about the people who did not choose the higher frequency? Dolores's work offers a compassionate, non-judgmental perspective. It is not an apocalypse. It is not a punishment. It is simply a fading. By 2030, the perceptual decoupling is largely complete. You will stop seeing the chaos on your news feed because you are no longer a vibrational match to it. The institutions of the old world may still exist on their timeline, but they will hold no power or relevance in yours. You will have literally built a new world in the shell of the old, and the old shell will simply dissolve from your awareness. This is the ultimate fulfillment of the mission for what Dolores called the first wave volunteers. Those souls who came to Earth at this time specifically to be the frequency anchors and the system builders. Their job is not to fight the old, but to dream the new into being with such focus and love that it becomes the dominant reality.
Do you feel like a volunteer? We have all these terms like light workers and indigo children and, other bits and pieces. And it does seem to have been a movement, right? Uh, back to the Celestine prophecies in the 90s and books before that, there was this whole different way of thinking and looking at the world that was sort of released slowly. And there's definitely a lot of people that I've spoken to who feel they're here for a reason, right? They're here to do a job. And a lot of them say that it's mainly to hold energy, right? Hold space, hold frequency. And I think it is that, but it's also um, to be the ones to show people that they can do it, right? Because a lot of people have all these dreams and things they want to do and they're good at them, they've got the skills, but it's their thoughts, right, that hold them back, which, these things in their heads, which are just opinions based on opinions, most of them given to them by people they don't know. Obviously, a lot of people have negative parents and family and peers and all that, but it's holding on to that stuff that holds you back. So I think that the volunteers, or whatever you want to call them, um, have to do the action, have to walk the walk, right? Have to be the ones to do these, to take the first few steps to just reassure everyone else that it's okay and you can do it. It's totally doable. So, do you think you're a volunteer? Do you feel like one? Do you believe in this concept of volunteers, of like a wave of souls coming in to, help get the world out of the rut it's been in? Let me know your thoughts.
By the end of 2030, their primary mission will be complete. The new Earth will be a self-sustaining, anchored reality. The dawn has broken. So, we have traversed the map. 2025 to 2030. The shakeout, the bifurcation, the synthesis. It is a fascinating story, a compelling prophecy. But if that is all you see it as, then its true purpose has been missed. This timeline is not a weather forecast for you to passively watch through the window. It is not a movie where you are merely a member of the audience. This is your commissioning, your activation notice. The greatest revelation from Dolores Cannon's entire body of work is this. The future is not a fixed point we are traveling towards. It is an infinite ocean of probabilities that we crystallize into reality with the magnetic power of our focus and our frequency. So the question was never, what will happen in the next 5 years? The real question, the only question that has ever mattered is, which future are you currently creating with the power of your attention? This timeline is not a prediction. It is a choice, presented to you as a story. Every event we have discussed is not a destination. It is a cosmic litmus test, a question from the universe, asking you in every moment, are you choosing fear or are you choosing love? Are you voting for the old earth or are you voting for the new? The timeline is not something that happens to you. It is something that flows through you. You are the architect. You are the gatekeeper. You are the one you have been waiting for. Choosing your frequency is not just about survival. It is about creation. So how do you begin? How do you cast your vote right now? Don't try to change the world. That is the old way. Instead, for the next 30 days, I invite you to implement a simple, powerful protocol. Let's call it the Timeline Choice Protocol. Every morning, before you touch your phone, before you let the world's noise in, close your eyes and ask yourself one question. Today, will my thoughts, my words, and my actions be a vote for the world that is dying, or a vote for the world that is being born? That's it. That one question. Let the answer guide your day. This is how we build the new earth. Not with grand gestures, but with small, conscious choices, repeated millions of times over, by millions of architects of the timeline, just like you. Now let's anchor this new reality together. In the comments below, share one small decision you will make today as a vote for the new earth. It could be choosing a hopeful thought, supporting a local creator, or simply spending 5 minutes in nature. Begin your comment with the hashtag #TimelineChoice. Let's turn this comment section into the first blueprint of the new earth. Let's show the algorithm and the world what future we are choosing to create. We are not just observers, we are the architects. Welcome to the project.
Welcome to the project. And yes, please do leave me a comment. What are you doing? You don't have to use the hashtag, but what choices are you making? And are you going to give that a go? 30 days, just 1 month out of your life and see what happens. The world's crazy, right? Strange realm at the moment. But, we have a choice of how we act or react, right? We want to act, not react. React is doing the same thing again. So how we act in these times is important because it's going to basically dictate where we end up, right? It's going to set our frequency, and then we are going to align with that frequency. And there's clearly something going on in the world, right? There's a lot of change, a lot of people seeing the world differently, right? Expanding, changing jobs, changing relationships, all this change, right? And that's what's going on. It's change. It's a change of an age, right? Pisces to Aquarius. And there's lots of interesting dates around. I don't know a lot about all the numerology stuff, but I know there's been lots of blood moons and weird stuff going on in the sky, and of course all the orbs, whatever they are. Um, there's just a lot going on. Of course, it's not all real. We've got one side with all this information that is basically manufactured, right? The fear porn that is the engineered apocalypse, right? Trying to get us all believe that the world's about to end. And I guess it is, their world's going to end for a lot of us, right? Because we're not going to be here for much longer. But on the other side, something is clearly happening on an energetic frequency level, a mind thought level. There's a lot of change going on. So where are you going to be? What are you doing to get there? That's a good question. Have you asked yourself that recently? But there you go. I just wanted to share that with you because I think it's an important video, right? There's a lot of important questions and thought processes that it gives us, and we really need to, you know, focus here because a lot of us are here to initiate and help this change. I see us like bridges, right, from the old world to the new, and we have to be there and stand strong, and other people can use us to get from one world to the other, right? We have to be the change that we want to see. And I believe that a lot of us are here to do that, to facilitate this change, to create the new earth, if you want to say that. But I'd love to hear your thoughts and your comments. Please leave them below and give me a like. And if you like this content, subscribe if you haven't already. And just let me know. This is the first time I've done a long form video. Do you like that content? Should I do more? And of course, stay awesome because you are. and I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.